So let's talk percentages. 16% of Americans have now had at least one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. If you add that with the percentage of Americans that have already been infected with COVID-19, how close are we to herd immunity at this point?
Not necessarily close to herd immunity. I don't know that we fully achieve herd immunity. I think the statistic is that 21% of those of adults have received at least one dose. It's about 60% of those above the age of 65, about 70% of those above the age of 75. It's a little bit less than that. But it's very good. And by the end of this month, we'll probably be at least 30% of adults that have had at least one dose of the vaccine. So we're achieving a higher level of background immunity in the overall population. When you combine the number of people who've been vaccinated with the number of people who have some residual immunity from prior infection, we're at pretty significant levels. About one-third of the country probably has been infected with coronavirus at this point, and we're approaching about another third of adults who've been vaccinated. So you're at pretty high levels where the virus itself is going to stop circulating. I think people sense that the overall risk is starting to be reduced, and that's why you're starting to see a push to resume some activity. Adults who are vulnerable to this infection, particularly older Americans, now have been vaccinated, many of them, and they want to start going out again. And I think that's why you're seeing governors start to change policies and create a gradual glide path towards resuming activity as we head into the spring and the summer.
And it's showing up in today's jobs report. Restaurants, biggest contributor to the job gains. So it raises the question, Dr. Gottlieb, of what is safe to do and what is not safe to do once you have been vaccinated. Dr. Fauci said he still wouldn't hug his grandchildren after being vaccinated. So how do we know what is appropriate right now?
Well, look, people need to assess their own individual risk relative to what their vulnerabilities are. But I think the bottom line is people who are vaccinated, who are fully vaccinated, are going to feel protected. They've seen the data on these vaccines. They feel protected. And we need to provide reasonable guidance for what they can do. People who are vaccinated, grandparents who are vaccinated, are going to want to see their kids and their grandkids. Putting out prescriptive guidance saying that they can only circulate with other people who've been vaccinated just isn't realistic, because they're not going to do that. So I think we need to try to offer public health guidance that fits within the confines of what people are going to want to do and what they're willing to do, and need to accept that, people, as they gain protection from the virus through vaccination, they're going to want to start going out again. And I think that's being reflected in people, for example, wanting to go out to restaurants as well. Once people have been fully vaccinated and waited the required time to have immunity fully kick in, they feel more comfortable going out. Now, if we're in a high prevalence environment, I think we should still be cautious. I don't think we should be taking off our masks just quite yet. I think March is a difficult month. It really sits on the cusp of two time periods, one where there was a raging epidemic in February, and another time period in April when I think the risk is going to be substantially reduced. So I think it's a little early to take our foot completely off the brake, but we need to provide a reasonable path for starting to reintroduce activity in safe ways as people head into the spring and the summer, and recognize that the overall vulnerability of the population is being dramatically reduced. And the place where that's most evident is when you look at the nursing homes. Infection levels are way down in nursing homes, back to levels that they were in last April, because now we've fully vaccinated residents of nursing homes.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.